You're listening to the Sasha Davis Podcast, a show about overcoming fear and manifesting your dream life. Each week, we'll dive deep into real stories and tangible advice about spirituality, law of attraction, mindset, and money so that you can be your happiest, healthiest, and most abundant self. You ready? Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, but mostly the ladies. Today, we're going to have a little story time. I feel like I haven't shared my story in quite some time. And stories are powerful. You know this. That's how we learn, right? We see what other people are doing, and that kind of gives us permission that we can do it too. You know, there's lots of experts out there. There's lots of books out there. But I always find that stories are where it's at. And I just ran to the truck because it's windy as balls outside. And the truck is kind of like my recording place, my recording studio, because it's loud in the house. We're doing a reno right now. And, if the dogs aren't bothering me, the kids are bothering me, something's going on. And it's just, it can be hard to focus, right? And so I go out in the truck, and that's kind of like my thinking zone. And I was running to the truck, and I'm pregnant. So, the lung capacity isn't what it used to be. It probably won't be for quite some time. Actually, I'm going to go for a walk after this. I had a no-show for one of my clarity calls, and those are no bueno. I don't like it when people no-show. I'm sure you can understand and appreciate when, people actually show up. So anytime somebody shows up for a call, I'm always so grateful for you. But anyways, let's get on to story time, because I've been talking a lot about law of attraction. I've been talking a lot about manifestation. I've been talking a lot about living your dream life, time freedom, financial freedom, emotional freedom, all these things. And how did I get to this space? How did I get to be this person that you see today, which is a very, very different person? Yes, I'm still sassy. Yes, I'm still a shithead. Yes, I'm still adventurous, adrenaline junkie, all those things. But I am on the the quote unquote positive end of the spectrum, right? So I am using that energy and motivation and whatever you want to call it to manifest my dream life, right? I'm intentional. I'm focused. I'm determined. I'm gritty. And I used to be that way too. But I didn't know how to channel it. I didn't know what to do with it. And so sometimes when you have a whole bunch of energy or anger or frustration, there's always, on the emotional guidance scale, there's an equal opposite to every emotion, right? So when you numb out your anger and frustration, you're also numbing out the equal opposite. So you have to allow yourself to feel on a variety of levels. And that's how you can experience more joy. And so how do you experience more joy? You have to move through the emotions that you don't really want to feel, the uncomfortable emotions, the crying, the fear, the insecurities. You got to work through that. There's no shortcut around it. And at least I haven't found one. And who knows, maybe somebody out there has a magic stick they can beat me with, and I don't have to, take the long way around, or you don't have to do things the quote unquote hard way, but I haven't found a way. And, after stepping to the space of personal development and manifestation, I find that, a lot of people are online. It's just meditate everything away or journal about it. And while those are those are important parts, you gotta feel the feels. It is all with the emotions. And this is something that I have learned through the course of my life, is that emotions are where it's at. Emotions are how you manifest. You have to feel it. And emotions are what make us human. Emotions are what make us this level of intelligence. And so everybody's always talking about book smarts and street smarts. What about emotional smarts? There's a whole concept of emotional intelligence. I actually did a workshop on this with my mastermind gals, and everybody's minds were blown. They're holy smokes, I need to work on my emotional intelligence, right? A lot of times we intellectually know what to do, but on an emotional scale, we have no idea how to deal. And when we don't know how to deal with our emotions, we don't know how to manifest effectively. Okay. And when you can really perfect how you feel and how you want to feel and what energy and intention you're putting out into the world, When you can put more joy and love and all these things that you want, abundance, out into the world, that is what you'll get back. But you have to feel it on an emotional level. Okay. It's not something that you can just grasp. You have to feel it. You have to embody it. You have to move through it. And it's a practice. And it's not something that's just going to, snap your fingers and it's going to click. There's a lot of unlearning that has to happen in order for you to step into that person, because society has conditioned us to just go, 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 do all the things. And while there is, there's magic and momentum, you have to create the right momentum, right? So if you're putting engines on the back of a train to a place where you don't really want to go, what's the fucking point, right? Like, you got to put engines on the train of the place where you want to be. Okay. So how can you do more of that and less energy and attention on the things that you don't want? And so this all started, I'll give some backstory. We'll have to do like a multiple part series. Okay. So let's give you some back history. I grew up in Minnesota, and how old was I? I don't remember. I was in elementary. My dad got a job in Iowa, and away we go, right? Move up and leave everything. We go to the country, which I was very excited about. I have been obsessed with horses from a very young age. I remember begging my dad to go to, there was this place called the Diamond Ranch, about 15 minutes from where we lived in Minnesota. And like every weekend I would beg to go to the Diamond Ranch. Please just let me go to the Diamond Ranch. I just want to ride horses. I just want to trail ride. And we did. We went a lot. We were either at the two places I spent most of my weekends in Minnesota was either the ranch, the zoo, Mall of America, or the junkyard. I remember like playing hide and seek, and I don't even know if they have junkyards anymore these days, but back then when things broke, you fixed it. You didn't just throw it away. I feel like society is so fucked up in that way now. It's like, oh, this is broke, just toss it, get a new one. Like, nobody really puts quality and effort into things anymore. And it's sad. And maybe that's why I'm on the mission that I am, is because I want to put quality and effort and grit and determination back into things. I don't want to half-ass shit anymore. I'm so sick of seeing like people just being entitled or tossing things out or not really taking full responsibility for their actions. Maybe that's what's wrong with the world today. We're just not taking enough responsibility. But that's another topic. So anyways, moved to Iowa, and it was tough, but I was so excited to be in the country. It was like the coolest thing. And we had, quite a few, we had an acreage, a little over 10 acres or right around 10 acres. And about half of that was woods, grove, timber, whatever you want to call it. It's different to everybody. We called it the woods. That's what we had. We had the woods. We had the pastures and we had the woods. And I was always like that little creepy witchy child. I would go out there and like make my own trails, make my own forts, and make my own little weird spells and potions. I talked to the animals. I talked to the trees. I was always kind of a weird kid, but whatever. Stepping into that power and owning it now, 30 some years later. So it is what it is. We all learn eventually, right? And anyways, my parents never really got along. I won't really get into my parents' stories because it's not my place to share their stories, but let's just say there was a lot of, it wasn't good. We'll just say that. Okay. They didn't belong with each other. And my mom, left when she found out she was pregnant with me. And it was, kind of like your typical, like, oh, we're having a baby, we should get married kind of thing. And so they tried to make it work, but it just didn't. Lots of things that probably shouldn't happen happened, and it is what it is, and you live and you learn, right? So anyways, my parents got divorced, and not saying that it was right or wrong, but what my mom did, and I've always been a very intuitive kid. I could always like predict things before they were going to happen, or I always just like knew things, or like that weird like deja vu feeling that you'd always get. I could always like read where people were at without them like saying or doing anything. I don't know, like looking back, I guess I've always kind of been a weirdo, but it's led me to where I am today. And anyways, one day my mom comes in, and I'm not sure where this story is going, so just hang with me here. We'll see what comes up. Anyways, I think I was like in 4th or 5th grade, and my mom comes in, and I was like, oh shit, we're moving. And so anyways, my mom picked us up, told the school that we had a dentist appointment and that we wouldn't be back for that day. Well, little did they know that we would not be back. What my mom had done was crafted a master plan kind of behind everybody's backs and rented a U-Haul and a Suburban, and she packed up all of our shit while we were at school and picked us up early. And while my dad was at work, we hightailed it back to Minnesota. And so for the next 2 years, I did not have much interaction with my dad at all, maybe a year and a half, 2 years. And I was always much closer with my dad growing up than my mom. I was always kind of, like I don't want to say daddy's girl because I really wasn't like babied or anything, but I was definitely like treated like a boy growing up, like getting dirty and riding horses, walking around barefoot, jumping off roofs, blowing shit up, riding motorcycles. I had a dirt bike when I was 5 years old. I remember getting that dirt bike. I ran that sucker straight into the fence like 2 seconds after I got myself all tangled up in the fence. But man, I loved it. I learned how to like ride wheelies, and I was always looking for like the next adventure from a very young age. I've just always kind of, did the beat to, had, what do they say? Tuned to the beat of my own drum or something like that. And I was kind of like your typical wild child. I didn't play by the rules. I always made my own rules. And anytime, there were rules, I questioned them. I was like, well, that doesn't make sense. And then when people would say, just do what you're told. I'm like, yeah, I can't. My brain doesn't work that way. And so I was living in Minnesota with my mom and her family. And let's just say that did not... City life is not for me. Living with that family was not for me, and that's okay. I ended up coming back and living with my dad and was basically raised by my dad. But it wasn't easy, right? He was doing the best he could with what he had. He was working 12, 14-hour days, and I was a shithead, guys. Like, I was always in trouble. I was full of anger. I was full of hate. My parents put a lot of pressure on me and my sister. I think anybody growing up, when their parents are going through divorce and, there's drugs and alcohol and abuse and all that stuff, like, you learn to grow up quick, but you also harbor a lot of anger, a lot of stress, a lot of resentment. And I don't know, I just had this big chip on my shoulder, and I always thought that, like, well, if this is what the world's going to be, well, then fuck the world. I'll make things on my own. And so I always kind of grew up with this chip on my shoulder, and it got me into a lot of trouble. I was your typical troublemaker. I was in and out of juvie. I was in and out of foster care, getting arrested, doing drugs, drinking, but I still went to school. I think I held the record for detention time though, because I got caught smoking, I got caught drinking, I got caught, I backtalk, the teachers and stuff. And we had a principal at the time who looked like Hitler. So then it's not funny. So don't like it's hard not to laugh, because I was like, wow, why didn't somebody just like slap me upside the head? But I'd call him Hitler, and, I'd do the whole Nazi thing, and I was awful, you guys. And I got in fights. I can't tell you how many fights I've gotten in, beat people up for literally just like looking at me wrong, not always looking at me wrong, but I'd always try to, stand up for those who couldn't stand up for themselves. So if I saw somebody like bullying somebody, I just didn't stand for it. And there was one day that I was at a lunchroom table, and a friend of mine said something to me, and then she said something to the friend next to me, was like kind of talking shit to her. And I was like, you need to leave. And she's like, I ain't leaving. You can go F yourself. And I stood up, and it was chili dog day, and I threw all of my food at her, hit her with the tray, and we like went to town, like in the middle of the lunchroom. And like nobody stopped it. They all just were like in shock. And it was funny because it was an away game. It's not funny. I shouldn't say that. I'm just trying to explain to you guys like how terrible of a kid I was to the person that you see today, and that like you are the creator of your reality, and you can change your life. You really can. It doesn't have to go down this path. But anyways, it was an away game for the football players. And so, away games, everybody wears their white jerseys or whatever. And everybody was covered in ketchup and mustard and chili, like probably within a 10 or 15 foot radius. So, yep. And then I went home to get showered, and we lived, in an old farmhouse, and we had like a well system, and you had to like turn on the well in order to like pump water into the house. Well, sure as shit, the well was dry because nobody turned on the well. So then I had to sit in ketchup, mustard, and chili dog for several hours until the well filled up enough for me to shower at home. And living at home, like if I got in trouble, it was like, hey, pick rocks out of the garden. Hey, go chop wood. We didn't have a furnace growing up. We literally heated our house with wood. We had to chop wood every summer, every fall to get enough through winter and spring, everything was manual labor. If I wanted, a car, I had to fix it. If I got a flat tire, I had to fix it. I learned from a very young age to be self-reliant. And I think that definitely helped me be as gritty and determined as I am today. I have a lot of life experience. But I also had a lot of hardships, I experienced a lot of things that I think, I don't want to compare anybody's life. Like, that's not my goal here. But, like, I did a lot of stupid shit, and I'm lucky to be alive. Like, if you go back and listen to some of these podcasts, I've had a couple OWIs. I've had a couple assault charges. I was a good kid at heart, but I was on a very wrong path. And I had all this energy, and I didn't know where to put it. And I had all this anger and all this resentment, and I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't know how to process any of it, And so I kind of had like a crossroads in my life where I was like a junior or senior or something. And guys, just bear with me. This is all by memory. This is like 15 plus years ago. So it's kind of foggy, and like bringing it back is, it can be weird, because a lot of times those bad memories you try to like shove down, but I'm able to like talk about that stuff now, whereas maybe like 5 or 10 years ago I couldn't without getting like super upset. And that's how you're not triggered anymore, is you can talk about something without it having an emotional charge to it. Again, back to the emotions. Emotions are powerful. And so anyways, I remember having like a meeting with one of our school counselors or something, and they're like, Sasha, like, you have all this potential. You're smart. You're pretty. Not that has anything to do with anything, but people would always tell me, like, you're so beautiful, you could do anything. And I'm like, fuck beauty. Like, what's on the inside? But I am fortunate. I mean, I am attractive. I am smart. I know these things. It took me a long time to be okay with it, because I'd always try to we always try to like dumb ourselves down. I don't know. It's weird. Or like tell ourselves we're not as pretty as we think we are. We're not as confident as we think we are. And I don't know, I just had to learn to like re-love myself. I think that's what the real problem was, is I just didn't love myself because I didn't know what real love was, And so anyways, they kind of said to me, you got to make something of yourself. Like, it's up to you. Like, you got to do something with your life. You could be really, really great if you would just, focus. And I was like, damn it, what am I going to do? And I'm honestly surprised I even graduated high school, but I did, and I was one of the first people in my family to graduate high school. On both sides. I mean, I think there was a couple in my dad's side of the family. He comes from a family of 9 kids. My mom comes from a family of 5. And I was the first on their side to graduate high school, like actually walk across the stage. And I think only a handful did on my other dad's side. So it was like a big milestone for me to even graduate, because a lot of times kids just follow in their parents' shoes. That's why it's so important, monkey see, monkey do. If you want to do differently, if you want the next generation to do differently, then you better get to work. And so anyways, I remember having a conversation with them, and they said something along the lines of, you're going to go to college, da, 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 da. And I was like, nope, I'm not doing that. I'm not, stick it to the man. Anyways, but then I got into the mindset of like, okay, what would a normal person do? What would a normal person do? And so I would always compare myself to a normal person. I'm like, a normal person would probably go to college. Okay, well, I was broke. I was poor. We lived paycheck to paycheck. We were on different, assistance growing up. And I played sports, and I was an okay athlete. I wouldn't say I was like an all-star by any means. I mean, I could have been, had I applied myself, I could have been really, really great. But again, I was a shithead, you guys. And so, but anyways, I had to pay for, like my own shoes, my own my own everything. So I would go to practice, get done with practice, and then I'd have to go to work. Right after work, I'd come home, and I never had time for homework because I would literally go to school. Then I'd go to work to school, and then I go to practice, and then I go to real work, and then I do it all again the next day. And that was my life from a very young age. And so anyways, I ended up going to college, went to a community college, and I didn't even know what I was going for. They're like, hey, what do you want to go for? I'm like, I don't know. What do people do? And they're like, oh, usually you get like your associates and then you can go from there. So I'm like, okay, cool. Took a bunch of like aptitude tests and everything said, do something in psychology. You're really a natural at this. And so I'm like, all right, sure. Kind of followed those breadcrumbs, didn't really give two shits. Got into a lot more trouble, as a young adult. But, my mantra was always like, what would a normal person do? What would a normal person do? What would a normal person do? And when I finally graduated community college, I was like, well, now what? And they're like, oh, well, now you have to go to a 4-year school. I'm like, okay, well, what does that mean? What does that look like? Okay, let's sign up for a 4-year school. And they're like, yeah, but you have to declare a major. I'm like, declare a major in what? And again, took some aptitude tests, and turns out, psychology was my jam. And so I went to school for psychology. And during this time, I'm still working 2 and 3 jobs, full-time student, paying for everything myself. And this is where I think we have a broken system too. I won't get too much into this, but I was working my ass off to make ends meet. Like working my ass off, like paying my rent, paying my bills, paying my student loans, trying to survive, trying to do the adult thing. But I was also so angry and resentful. And so then on the weekends, I just get tore up and do like the stupidest things. But anyways, you apply for like government assistance or whatever for, like student aid and whatnot. You know what they told me? You make too much money for government assistance. This 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old working 2 and 3 jobs to at least afford college, to do the right thing. And you get nothing, but if I would have, and this is nothing against anybody, but it's just, if I would have not had a job, I would have gotten a free ride. The government would have paid for me, or if I would have had a kid, or if I would have had something else wrong. And so, from a very young age, I had this like, stigma with the government and like the assistance and like the people who needed help. And so I always, was like, I'm going to change it. I'm going to make a difference in this world. Things need to be different. And I didn't know what that looked like at that time. I just knew that like, when you have a broken system, it just doesn't work. And so how can we empower more people? Like instead of disempower them, really, discourage them from going after their dreams because of things like funding or grants or money or things like that. And so I was like, well, screw this. I'm going to make such an impact. I'm going to make so much money that I don't have to worry about any of this stuff. But I still had student loans. And anyways, I almost got kicked out of the first school that I went to because I was working a lot and I was partying a lot and I was doing some shit I shouldn't have been doing. But that was also the place where I found the law of attraction. And I was in a class, I had to take a philosophy class, and there was like 2 or 3 professors that I had to choose from. And I chose the woman of the 3, and I was like, all right, whatever, I'll take her class. And I really didn't even know what philosophy meant at the time. I'm like, okay, whatever, I just have to take this to pass. And so I took it. About halfway through the semester, and this was like 2006 or 2008, something like that. And we had to watch the movie The Secret, the Law of Attraction movie by Rhonda Burns or whatever. And then we had to do a vision board afterwards. I remember being so bent out of shape about having to, like, I was paying 10, 15 grand a year to go to a school where we watch movies about law of attraction, like this magic bullshit. I was not happy. And you guys, I was very angry, like, kid, like, in general. And I was so pissed about it. I remember leaving there like, this is such a joke. You gotta be kidding me. Da 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 da. And one of my roommates was like, whatever, dude. Like, you just have to like glue some shit on a board to like get an A, then do it. I'm like, all right, fine. And so I tried to like put some intention behind it. And anyways, watch that movie. I thought it was total BS, but I couldn't get it out of my head. I was like, is this really possible? Like somebody made a movie, like a documentary on this. Like, is this legit? And there's like, I'm a researcher, so I have to like know things. But then it was like going back to that childhood self, like that person, you know, that 10-year-old me that would like wander through the woods and believe in magic and spells and witches and warlocks and talking to the birds and the bees and the trees and, you know, riding horses bareback, bridleless. It was like something sparked in me and I was like, whoa, maybe this is it. And so it sent me on this path of, you know, of really what you see today. And it's obviously evolved over the last 10 or 15 years. But, you know, I remember like watching that movie. I remember doing that vision board. And I still kind of, you know, was hesitant. I was like, this is kind of a joke. But anyways, I did it. And I kid you not, everything happened on that board. Damn near everything happened that I had on my vision board. It happened. And my mind was blown. I seriously was like, holy crap, like you gotta be kidding me. Like this is legit. And so I, you know, started doing all the research and reading all the books and listening to all the podcasts and, you know, but then just like anybody else, you get stuck in the rat race of get a good job, get married, get a house, have kids, do the things that you're supposed to do. And so I fell back into that, you know, that cycle that society wants you to do, like living the American dream, even though it's different for everybody. And so the manifestation and law of attraction, while it was still very much like a part of my life, I was manifesting things that I didn't really want, you know, like jobs that I didn't really want, promotions that I didn't really want, people in my life that I didn't really want. But, you know, that's where my energy and attention was going. So of course that's what I was manifesting, right? And so that's what leads me to today. And there's more to it. Well, I'll just keep going with it. And so anyways, I ended up at this corporate job and climbed a ladder very, very quickly. I'm always a go-getter. I'm a hustler. I always felt like I had something to prove, you know, like I came from a family that had nothing. And so I always felt like I had to work more. I had to be better. I had to do better, you know? So I would always use that grit and determination to push myself into that next place, right? And there was so much shit that happened in between there, you guys. You know, we're falling out with parents, friends. You know, I spent quite a few weekends in jail from being in trouble, doing stupid stuff. But, you know, my husband kind of gave me this ultimatum, and we weren't married at the time. You know, because I always try to like sabotage everything, you know, like when things are going good, you're like, oh, just wait, something bad's going to happen. Well, if you put that out into the world, then yeah, something bad's going to happen. And I would put that stuff out into the world. And then no wonder that stuff would get back to me, you know? And so anyways, did some really dumb stuff. And, you know, at the time, my husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, which is weird to even say now that we're like going to have baby number 3, but he was like, I'm done with you. I'm not going to sit here and watch you kill yourself and continue to do stupid things. Like, I care about you, but I'm not going to watch you do this. And he said he was done. And I was like, holy smokes, he's right. I'm doing this to myself. And so I had kind of another crossroads, and I was like, all right, Sasha, get your shit together. Stop being an idiot. And so I did. I started to be more intentional with the things that I was putting out into the world. And then, you know, we got married, and about a year later I got pregnant. And we had a baby, and then I had her, and then it was like everything shifted within me, you know, because I was that person. I was like, I am never having kids. I'm not getting married. I'm not taking anybody's last name. Like, no, that's not me. I'm not doing that stuff. Well, never say never, guys. Anything is possible. Anything is possible. So I have this baby, and I realized it was like my whole world opened up. I started to see things so much clearer, and I was like, what in the hell am I doing with my life? I don't like my job. I don't like where I'm living. I don't like what I'm doing. I don't like anything about anything. Like, how did I end up here? Like, it was like I had this baby, and like I woke up like 2 months later and was like, where is my life? Like, where is the fun Sasha? Where is the adventurous Sasha? Where is that childlike Sasha? Where is this spiritual being that was meant to like have fun and joy on this planet? And it was just like, boom, it hit me like a brick house, you know? And I didn't know how to get there. And so, you know, I worked with a coach for a while. And through that process, you know, I was able to really step into my power and step into my calling and step into this version of the, you know, law of attraction expert that you see today. And that's really my story in a nutshell. And I've been able to manifest like the coolest things, from, you know, all-inclusive trips to horses, trailers, campers, houses, people, places, things. I mean, you name it. I've been very intentional, very focused, and I have found that your emotions are your guidance system, and you have to feel good. And so my mission really is to, you know, help people feel better more of the time so they can really create the abundance that they want in their life, which you don't really create abundance, but you know what I mean? Like, call in that abundance, like align with the energy of abundance so that you can really live a life of joy, of peace, do the things you want to do. Like, you only get one life, you know? And that's another like of my mantra. I'm like, man, you only live once. Like, just have fun with it. If it doesn't feel good, don't do it. Like, we're the only ones that like put ourselves in this box. You know, we think we have to do things this certain way. And as soon as like you say, oh, I know, or it has to be this way, you know, you close yourself off to possibilities and opportunities. And anytime I hear myself doing that, you know, sometimes I just know things without certainty though. Like, I know this is going to happen, or I know that's going to happen. Like good things in my life, but I don't say like, I know everything. I'm not like, you know, I'm not the universe. I know a lot, but I'm not going to say I know everything. And when you do say you know everything, or I've tried that before, or I've done it that way before, you just kind of close yourself off, you know? And so that's kind of where it's nice to have, you know, different perspectives. And that's where kind of, you know, coaches, therapists, mentors, counselors, friends, just anybody who you can really have in your life, you know, that you look up to, that can help you get from where you want to be, from where you're at to where you want to be as quickly as possible. And I'm just here to encourage you that it can happen, and there's no right or wrong. You know, some people will come to me and they say, how did you do it? And I say, well, I did a lot of hard work on the inside. And then I just took inspired action. Like, that in a nutshell is what I did. Is anytime something was uncomfortable, I leaned into it. I had the hard conversations. I did the budgeting. I did the sacrificing. I did the things that nobody really wants to do to get to the point where they're at. You know, sometimes people get stuck in that comfort zone, and that's fine. I mean, to each their own. Like, if your comfort zone is working for you, then stick to it. But if you have like this calling for more, you're never going to get from here to there in your comfort zone. You're just not. And I know sometimes it's hard to leave like the comfort of a job, or it's hard to leave the comfort of the place that you grew up, or it's hard to leave the comfort of somebody who you've been with for a really long time. But you got to listen to what that higher self is saying to you and what feels good. And if you really turn into your body, into your emotions, they will guide you. They will tell you exactly what you need to know, what you need to hear, what you need to do. But we as humans have conditioned ourselves to shut that mind, body, spirit connection off. And that's what our society has done. That's what our culture has done. And so that's where someone like me comes in, and I reteach you how to know yourself, how to trust yourself, how to love yourself, how to be in tune with your body, how to be in tune with your intuition. You know, we all have intuitive gifts. We all do. I don't care what anybody says. Every single person does, whether it's, you know, hearing, seeing, touching, smelling, or the all-knowing, like, or deja vu. Like, we all have an intuitive gift. And how do you tap into that? You know, like, there's universal energies at play that nobody ever talks about, but they're very much there. It's the same thing. Like, if you walked into a room and you didn't know a single person there, but everybody in the room was happy and laughing, like, there's an energy behind that. You will absorb that energy, and you will be happy and you'll be laughing, right? It's that emotional energy. You absorb that. If you go into a room and everybody's crying and upset, like, you feel that too. Or if everybody's angry and tension, like, if you ever walked into a room and everybody's just like upset and you're like, oh man, you can cut this tension with a knife, and nobody's saying or doing anything, but you feel it. That's energy, guys. It's universal energies at play. And there's a lot of things that people just can't explain. It's beyond our minds, and I can teach you it. Sometimes it's hard to explain what it is, but like once you feel it, it's like love. Like love is something that's hard to explain. Love means everything to other people or differently to different people. But as soon as you like feel true love, like there's nothing in the world like it. And that's like manifestation. That's like the law of attraction. Once you align with the energy of it, there's nothing like it. Like things flow to you. It's like you're a freaking magnet, and opportunities and abundance, they just pour into your life. And we're humans. So like not every day is going to be candy canes and rainbows and kitty cats and butterflies and all that good shit. But if we're joy more of the time, if we're on the emotional guidance, if we're higher on the emotional guidance scale more of the time, then we're able to put more engines behind that train, right? And we're able to manifest more things that we desire in our life. And you can measure it in how you feel, or the things that you attract, or the people that you attract, or the money that you attract, or the things, the people, places, things that you have in your life. Like those are all physical manifestations of how you feel. Okay, good, bad, or ugly. And so that is how I have come to be from where I was to where I am today. There was a lot of inner work. And when I could align with the energy of how I wanted to feel, I was able to use my manifestation skills, or use the law of attraction, to call in more of the things that brought me joy. And so you can be on, either end of the stick. If you're on the end that you're manifesting things that you don't want, how can you flip the stick? You got to get from over there to over here. Okay. And it's a process, and there's lots of ways that you can do it. There's not one size fits all. So just start asking yourself, what do I need today? What do I need today? How can I? How can I? How can I? And trust the process. Trust what comes up. Start trusting yourself. So many women especially. Men do this too, though. I've seen this a lot. Men will doubt themselves, but women really doubt themselves. They think that they're not worthy, not capable. I can't do this, or they start self-sabotaging. Lots of stuff comes up. And this is where like the societal conditioning will keep you playing small, or like history, or if you believe in past lives, sometimes, like karma can come through from a past life where something happened and you're still carrying that energy with you. Or sometimes, I'm going to get a little woo-woo on you here, but there's certain things, certain dimensions, certain entities that we can't really see in our physical plane, but they can attach to our auras. They can attach to our energy bodies. And so sometimes you carry around shit that's not even yours. Have you ever noticed, like if you had like an encounter with somebody, say at the grocery store, and they were just a total jerk to you, and it just like ruined your whole day? A lot of times they dumped their shit on you. They energetically poo-pooed on you, and now you're carrying that around with you throughout the day. And so you may feel like crap, and it's not even yours to carry, So how can you clear that? And that's not really something that you can do. I mean, you can try to do it on your own. Some people are successful, but if you don't know what to do or how to do it, you may be just spinning your wheels and, beating your head against a wall. And so this is where some people are like, I feel like I'm trying so hard. I'm trying so hard. I'm trying so hard. I have no doubt that you are trying so hard, but let's put a new pair of glasses on. Let's put a new perspective on. Maybe there's something there that you're not seeing that's blocking you. Could be emotions, could be other people's stuff, could be past life, could be where you're at physically. Like there's different grids throughout the world, and based on your birth chart, there's going to be certain places where you will be more successful than others. We'll just say that. Okay. This is where like the astrology and all that stuff comes in. Like if you guys start looking into this stuff, it all makes sense. The seasons, the nature, astrology, birth charts, all of these things. But it just seems so far-fetched for a lot of people, even though once you like dive into it, it's like, oh my God, this makes perfect sense. So just open yourself up to opportunity, open yourself up to possibility, open yourself up that there may be more than one thing, one way to do something. Open up that there may be other factors involved, and it's not just that there's something wrong with you. It's that maybe something had happened to you, or somebody had energetically poo-pooed on you, and you're carrying around stuff that's not yours. Okay. It's not your fault. I know that you're doing the best you can. I know that. And sometimes you just need a little help, a little guidance. And so that's where somebody like me comes in. Okay. I'm going to leave it at that. I am offering this month a 90-day intensive program. Manifest Your Dream Life, 90-day intensive. Doors are open now. Go over to sashadavis.com/clarity-call, or just go to sashadavis.com and you'll see it. There's more information there. And you can book a clarity call. And so what it looks like is you get one-on-one calls, group calls, guest expert calls in the areas of energy healing, destiny cards, self-care. You get a whole lot of me, so make sure that you actually like me before you book a call with me, because you're going to get a lot of Sasha time, which is a good thing, I think, but you got to make sure that we're a good fit. Like if you like me on the podcast, if you follow me, if you kind of catch my drift, if you feel me, you're really going to enjoy this program. But if you're kind of like, meh, Sasha's not my cup of tea, you probably won't like this, because I'm going to be in your life. So I am open enrollment from now until the end of the month. Anybody who signs up for Early Bird does get a couple bonuses. You get the Master Your Money Mindset bonus. And you also get my How to Start and Scale Your Business bonus, because there's a lot of folks who want to be in control of, their time, their money, their energy. And sometimes that looks like a business, whether it's a side hustle or a full on, 6+ figure business. I can help you with either. So that is what I'm offering right now. It's not my traditional 6 month or 12-month program. This is a bite-sized piece for those who are not quite ready for a 6 or 12-month commitment, but do want the support to get them to the next level. So this would be a perfect fit for you. And I encourage you to book a call with me. Let's just have a conversation. If it feels like a good fit, we'll talk about next steps. And if not, or if now's not the time, no harm, no foul. I'm not one to pressure somebody. I find that, you'll take inspired action when the time comes, right? It's not a forced action, it's an inspired action. And so if this calls to you in any way, shape, or form, let's just have the conversation and see how it feels. I can kind of guide you through energetically, and I'll be able to tell you too, on that phone call, if I feel like you're in or if you're out, because I can kind of, tune into you and be like, yep, you're in, or nope, now's not the time. I absolutely will have that conversation with you. So keep that in mind. I will be chatting about that more this month. Next week is my Black Hills retreat. So the 14th through the 19th, I won't be taking any clarity calls then, but before and after, I absolutely will be. So hit me up. I would love, love, love to have a conversation with you. And yes, it is me. I've had people ask me that. We're like, do I really get to talk to you? Yes, you really get to talk to me. And I'm totally chill. I'm not it'd be like if you were just sitting in the car with me and we're having a chit chat. All right. So don't feel pressured or anxious or anything like that. Just book a call. Let's have a conversation and see how it goes. And if you have any questions for me, or if you enjoyed this podcast, do me a favor, screenshot, share on social media, tag me, sasha.davis. I love, love, love hearing from you guys. And I hope you have a kick-ass day. We'll catch you next time.